Just give a couple minutes to see if anybody actually comes in here. Okay. So I'm thinking about changing gears here, and we'll talk about the actions of the police. Well, just because I don't have anything else better to do right now, you're more than welcome to come in and join the chat if you'd like. Talk with me instead of typing. But I'm just going to talk about my thoughts on police brutality. And today I fell down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos of police brutality and resisting arrest. You know, seen some bad stuff and seen some good stuff. I've seen a video of a cop that had a gentleman in cuffs sitting down in a chair in the back of what I think was a bar. And the guy that was in the cuffs was just kind of sitting there running his mouth to the officer. And he kept spitting on the floor and saying a bunch of lewd stuff to the officer. And then all of a sudden he spit on the officer, and the officer decides to go ahead and charge him with his knee at full force, knocking the guy unconscious. So, yes, that was excessive. Was it karma? Absolutely. There was no reason for the guy that was in cuffs to be running his mouth the way he was, and unfortunately, that guy was the officer was released from duty, and there were other charges on the officer for excessive force and so on, which is sad. But the guy, in my opinion, he got what he deserved. I mean, somebody spits on me, I'm going to do more than spit back. That's for sure. But then there's other videos out there of, people not wanting to just be compliant. When officers tell you to stop, that means stop. When they ask you to get out of the vehicle, that means get out of the vehicle. I know, Miss Joe. I see you out there. I'm on a roll now. Oh, boy. Still nobody's coming in and joining and talking. Everybody just types. But anyways, so they have let's see. I've seen a video of a bunch of teenagers outside of a pool, and a cop is being very excessive with one of the teenagers and throws her on the ground, and the uh, the cop gets very excessive with him, which with her, which it starts stirring up the people around him, and they all start getting into it with the officer, and the officer ends up drawing his pistol on a couple of the people that are around him, and it escalates. Nobody gets shot, no shots were fired, but all these kids were being very disruptive. These kids who are already under the impression that they don't have to do what anybody says, and it just doesn't work that way. Overall, through the general consensus, there's one common thing with all of these people that were either resisting arrest or police brutality, and that's they all did something to put themselves in that situation. In 99% of these situations, these people put themselves there. The police just don't walk up to you to just start harassing you. Now, there is that 1%, so that can happen. So that's just my thoughts. There's some people out there that are listening, and I'd like to know everybody else's thoughts. Yeah, Lindsay, I agree. I don't. I'm not saying he didn't handle the situation very well, or he could have handled it better, I'm sure. And there was a lot left out that I would like to know more about. What led up to that, to the altercation. Let's see, what was another one? Uh, a couple of them were good ones where the police actually had to use their firearms, and they ended up shooting the suspect. One I seen earlier today. A guy holds his girlfriend or wife, fiance, something along those lines, holds a gun up and shoots into her car, and um, takes their baby out of the back seat and runs off with the baby. Well, the police are in pursuit on foot, chasing him. They get into like what looked like a townhouse area, something along those lines, and he is trying to climb a fence. Officers give him the commands, and in a split second, all of a sudden, they fire one shot, and it must have hit him right in the tee box because he went down. Baby wasn't injured, and everything. I mean, the dead bad guy, healthy baby. That's a good day. But for some reason, there's people out there that'll think that there's never a reason that the police should shoot anybody, and that's just not the way it works. When these cops leave the house every day, and I'm not saying that they put their life on the line every day. but there is always a threat. There's evil out there that can approach any of us, not just cops. And if you're not ready to handle that situation, then you're going to be on the other end of it. Well, Miss Joe, I would like to screen share, but unfortunately, I'm in a part of the world that has horrible internet, and I was trying to do it, but I can't stream this and stream YouTube at the same time. It doesn't work out very well. But I'll get it figured out someday. Like I said, I'm just here talking. Oh yeah, I know how. It doesn't work very well. Oh yeah. I guess I can do that. That makes sense, doesn't it? Let's try that. Let's see. See if I can pull this up. Be patient with me. I'm trying to get it.
Moments out of Denver, Colorado, caught on camera. An officer in
Let's try this. This is the first thing I was talking about the officer. The officer giving a big old knee to the guy in handcuffs sitting in a chair. Miss Joe likes giving the play-by-play. We'll let her have her spotlight. Oh no, I'm losing viewers. Oh dear Lord. I know some of you out there have to have some feedback that you have on other videos that you've seen. You're not going to come in and talk about it. Throw something in the comments there. Let me know what you think. DDT, what's your thoughts? It's much appreciated, Miss Joe. It's much appreciated. Oh yeah, I'm not saying that it wasn't uncalled or that it was justifiable what that officer did. I mean, it wasn't called for. It wasn't something that was good practice, I'm sure. But if he wasn't a cop and that person did the same thing, would have still been that big of a deal? earlier today, I did a live stream, and for some reason, I can't find it in my YouTube channels anywhere. I didn't delete it or make it not available to the public, but I'm not real sure what happened there. I'm not sure what will happen to this, but hopefully it goes to where it's supposed to and it's available for everybody to see and everybody to comment, because that's what everybody likes to do. Once stuff's over, they start commenting. The only persistent person I have so far is Ms. Joe, DDT, and I appreciate you chiming in and giving us some feedback. Navin Johnson was here. I don't know if he's still here or not, but thanks for jumping in there and saying something. Yeah, see, DDT, that's my point. If that was just the average everyday person, two people, and one person spit on the other, you know, some people will. Well, the world is not a fair place. It's not at all. And what happens is everybody wants to, yeah. Okay, so I see what you're saying there, Naaman Johnson. So they should be trained, and they are trained to expect that kind of behavior. Does that is that an excuse to say that people should just be assholes? Yeah, he was way out of line, but that's karma. Bad for the cop, really bad for the dude. Well, I'm sure it paid off in the end, but all the smack that there's a longer video that has everything the guy was saying. And, personally, I just feel the dude got what he deserved. Unfortunately, it turned out to be worse for the cop because, there was probably a lot of loss of pay there and a lot of money being paid out to the dude in cuffs. Let me see if I can find the longer video. There's another video that's here, let's try this one. Let's do this. This link here has everything that led up to it. And it doesn't excuse what the officer did. It doesn't. It doesn't. But the world isn't a fair place. And that's just what happens. Navin, yeah, there's. Oh, I'm sure there was something the guy could have put over his head. And, for the longest time, the guy wasn't necessarily spitting at the officer. He was doing a lot of just running his mouth. But let's take, for example, sovereign citizens. I seen a good video, or not sovereign citizens, but this a free inhabitant is what this chick kept saying. And the officer kept telling her to get out of the vehicle, and she was not complying. And in the end, that woman ended up out of the vehicle on the ground in cuffs and wasn't very happy. But right or wrong, you know, there's a 99.9% chance that if you comply with what the officer tells you, it can go in a better direction than what you expect it to. I've had numerous I've been in front of law enforcement numerous times, and I've never had a problem. I've been in front of law enforcement in other countries, and I've never had a problem. Times that I probably should have had problems, and I didn't. Good cops, bad cops. There's always going to be that percent of law enforcement that is corrupt, and it just happens. It can happen anywhere. You have law enforcement officers that come from lives where they were basically spoon fed, they were sheltered, they become cops, and then they fall into this position of authority, and some of them don't know how to handle that authority. There's a lot of police departments nowadays, though, that if you have a squeaky clean background, they some law enforcement agencies aren't exactly inclined to want to hire you, because that means you're more acceptable or susceptible to to falling into corrupt activities. Some people should have already made mistakes and learned from them. Those are the ones that make good officers. And yes, there are law enforcement agencies out there that do look for things like that. Hell, nowadays, when it comes to a security clearance or federal jobs, they only ask you so far back, like only a few years back, if you've, smoked marijuana or done any kind of drugs. Is that a beer can? Where? I don't drink. Oh, you're hearing my water bottle. I have a nice Yeti water bottle here. You know, DDT, to go with what you're saying, the progress that people are trying to make with police, you know, we only catch a larger percentage of the bad than we do the good, and the good is definitely outweighs the bad, but we don't get to see all that. Hi, Teresa. Teresa, I know you can come in these chats. Why don't you come in here and talk? Mouse water? I don't know what mouse water is. It's not. It's a Yeti. My, like a Yeti water bottle. You put your water in it and it stays cold forever. Teresa, we're talking about police brutality and resisting arrest and just plain old fashioned karma that can come from that. Come on in and talk, Teresa. Oh, and Miss Joe, when I did used to drink beer, never from a can. Never. The police, they get it. Well, that's good. I know a lot about Teresa. Unfortunately, she doesn't want to come in and say anything. Anyways, I got off subject. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the good part of the police. We don't see enough of the videos where almost on a daily basis there's hundreds of officers and just in each state that are doing some type of a community outreach. We don't get to see that, not nearly as much as we do, them hooking somebody up or bouncing them off the hood of a car or, dunking them down for the long sleep. What I'd prefer is people come in and talk. I can go on YouTube and live stream from there and just have people type. GD is a sob citizen. Well, good for them. I'm sure that works out well for them every day. GD, come into the chat and tell me all about, educate me on being a sob citizen. Oh, is he the Alabama leprechaun? Heard a lot about that. Let's go through here and find something else. There's all kinds of videos of police brutality. Now here's a good one. This one I'll agree was excessive. This one here, I haven't been able to find what led up to this video, but it was a Baltimore officer basically just wailing on the individual. I don't know if he was a suspect at the time, but something caused everything to happen, you know. All right, well, we'll give it about one more minute. And if nobody wants to come in and talk, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream. It's getting to be well past my bedtime. Everybody that came in and wanted to leave their little comments there, I appreciate it. As soon as you're done, be sure to go over and into the YouTube video, or you're all probably watching it from YouTube anyways. But anyways, make sure you give it a thumbs down. That's what everybody likes to do. So I'll be looking forward to that. There's a lot of familiar screen names that keep showing up. I've seen you all from other places before. So Miss Teresa, I'm disappointed that she didn't want to come in and talk. All right, everybody. Y'all enjoy your day.